So when you and your wife started doing your budget, what were some like tips and tricks that you guys did to kind of stay on the same page, kind of figure out what the month's going to look like and make sure that you guys stick to it?
Yeah, it did take some getting used to. It was pretty rough the first few months because we're all like, I think we both were fighting for our categories. We're like, I need money in this part of the budget. I need money in that. And then it was tough because we're like, I don't know how much we spend on something. So like, what do we budget for groceries? I don't know how much, we spend every month, or like, how much do we budget for gas? And so we're just kind of throwing numbers out there the first few, months we started. And so that was kind of tough. And then trying to get on the same page, with each of the numbers. But I'd say it took us a lot of getting used to just thinking, about every time we make a purchase, okay, how much do we have left in the budget for that? And I think we got used to it. I think after a few months, we got into a rhythm. We narrowed down our categories. We're like, okay, we don't spend that much on gas. Okay, we can lower that a little bit. Or we're spending way too much in this category compared to our budget. And is that realistic? Okay, let's bump up our budget a little bit for that category. So after a few months, we really kind of had it dialed in, and then we knew our amounts. We knew how much we could spend in each one of those categories. And so it gave us some peace of mind. When we first started out, it was definitely something that we kind of came at odds about was the budget. But after we got into a rhythm and we were on the same page, it was so much better. Like we were working together to create the budget now. It wasn't, like we were fighting over categories. We're working together. We're both compromising where we need to, to help each other out. And so it definitely helped us just have peace of mind that we both know what the other's thinking. And then another thing, just a plug is I kind of had my own Excel budget for a while. And I tried to get my wife to come look at that and be on the same page. And she just, basically when I put it on Excel, it was how I thought about it. And so her thinking about how she thinks about it, we just couldn't come together. So we ended up just choosing an app that we really like. It's a good budgeting app. We both have the same login, so we can both interact with it on our phones at the same time. And so that was a mutual thing that we could come together on and say, okay, we both understand this. We both like how this budget app works. And so we can get on the same page in that way. So I think it definitely took some time. It was rough to kind of start out. But once we got the hang of it, it's been really great since. Still struggle sometimes with forgetting to put together a budget for the month. Like we'll be 10 days into a month and we're like, oh, shoot, we haven't done the budget yet. So we still struggle with that of making sure that we have, our budget meetings. But definitely think once we realized our strengths, and kind of separated that out and worked, together, it made a huge difference. So
I gotcha.
Is it pretty similar for you guys, or was it?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely the first couple of times we were just, it was like, I want this side. No. And I did the budget for a while, just myself. I was like, I'll handle this part. I usually handle the money, no big deal. She does other things. We kind of just like separate the tasks, I guess, amongst us. And I quickly realized that's a bad idea. You need to be unified in the budget because money is kind of what fuels everything that you guys are doing. It's what's going to fuel your goals in the future. So I quickly realized, we need to be together on this thing. One thing that's really, really, really helped me really is to understand what my wife wants in the future, what her goals are. And knowing that and being unified in it, one, it helps us when we make the budget, and two, it helps us stick to it. Because sometimes I may see, there's $50 in the budget that, it's available. There's a video game coming out. I want the new Call of Duty. But then if you're unified in your goals and you know what that $50 can look like, $50 a month, continuous for, throw it into your IRA or something, then you start to think, what, maybe not. Maybe we should remember those goals, remember the future, remember that, she wants to go to Hawaii and I want to make a movie. There's so much stuff I'd like to do. So it's just kind of being unified, knowing what she wants, what he wants, that really helps. And then knowing your spouse. And I know knowing their goals is one thing, but just knowing them as a person, their personality. I would go take a personality test, have your spouse take a personality test. Myers-Briggs personality test is awesome. And it'll tell you kind of their money habits. You can learn a little bit about your money habits and learn about your spouse's money habits, and then kind of work that budget according to that. So maybe your spouse is a bit of a spender. So instead of saying, hey, we're not going to have this money, maybe say instead, let's have this certain amount of money where you can spend freely and I won't even look at it. I'll just look away and it's yours. It's got his name on it or her name on it. It's for them. And then for the savers, you could say, hey, this is your fund. You can spend it if you like, but you can save and you can put it anywhere you want, line item on the budget. And that really, really helps, just, knowing, who your spouse is as a person, not just their goals, but knowing both. It'll change your life. It'll change your budget.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say give it a few months. If you're starting out and it's rough, it's rough for all of us. So give it a few months. You'll get into a routine. Hopefully, if you're working together, you're on the same page, and then it'll become, a regular habit. And as you said, if you know the goals and you know them, you start to work together, and you come together as a team. And so just give it a few months. It's okay if it's rough for the first little bit.
And make changes if you need to. My wife came up to me the other day and was like, hey, I'd like to have another date night. Can we actually take out some stuff from the food line item on our budget and say, hey, can we not buy certain things that we would buy, kind of get by this week, eat a little more cheap, so we can have that date night? I'm like, absolutely. So be flexible on your budget. Think about that kind of stuff. Think how you can move a couple of pieces around. Think about what you could do for next month to make it a little bit easier. Because a budget it really isn't restraints. It is a license to spend just up to a certain amount.
Yep.
So it's your game plan. It's your goal for the month. So make it a good one. Make it a good goal.